So our topic today is employer branding, where next? I'm going to start off with an overview about the top things that you might want to know at the moment about employer branding and your attraction planning. But firstly, what I'd love to do is to introduce you to the speakers. So obviously, as well as myself today, I'm also excited to share two case studies from Laura Graham from DWP Digital, and Laura's going to be talking about their employer brand for the tech audience. And then also my colleague Marcus will then be sharing our work on Lego's employer brand content creation as well. So first of all, I'd like to start with a few words about us at SMRS. So our role is to help change organisations for the better. So we work with clients to help them to target, engage and motivate the people who make them tick. So from attraction to research, employer branding, culture, creative and content, we do groundbreaking work that really works. So where I'd like to start today is to say that the world is changing at a rapid pace. 2020 has shocked us all. In May, economic activity was down by roughly 30% year on year. Everyone's been impacted personally and professionally, but I'm not really here to talk about what we've all experienced as we've all lived and breathed through it. So what I want to focus on today is about what you might do next. So where we are now, I feel it's very much time to get prepared. So as talent, resourcing and employer branding experts, what you do now will be really critical to the success of your business and for your business too. So if you can find time right now to look at your 2021 strategy, I think it'll really start to serve you well. We're already seeing that the volume of applications are going through the roof. Indeed have quoted an overall increase in job applications of 20% from April to July of this year. The traffic to their site has more or less doubled as well in the same period. The last thing you want to be doing right now is spending loads more time on screening candidates because you haven't got your employer brand and attraction in order. So now is the time to do that so that you can make sure that you're attracting the right people into your organisation. A starting point for that is to think about whether your current employer brand is fit for purpose. And one of the things that we'd recommend you do right now is look at the different stages of employer brand development to understand whether you're where you need to be. This is our approach to employer branding. And the way in which you can look at this is if you imagine step one, that's our talk stage. So right now, one of the things that you could be doing is re-looking at your employer brand objectives and the priorities that you've got for your business. The dig stage would be about checking your perception as an employer. So thinking about how you can test with an internal and external audience, benchmarking and understanding what the perceptions of you are right now. The develop stage is about re-looking at your EVP and understanding whether anything's changed about it. So for example, is what you're saying to candidates the right thing for right now? I'm sure there's lots of things that have changed about your business recently, and these are the things we need to be feeding into your employer value proposition. Then with regard to how you express your employer brand, is the messaging that you're pushing out there, is that accurate? Is that a fair reflection of who you are? And also, where are you sharing it? Are you sharing it with the right types of audiences at the right times? With all employer brands, it's really important to tune, so to constantly pulse check that EVP with candidates and colleagues. And the important audience right now as well is the candidates that you want to be attracting as you move forward. So now's a good time to make sure as well that your employer brand strategy aligns to your business strategy and also your culture. So has your direction of travel changed as a business? If it has, then your culture will definitely be changing as well. If your culture's changing, then your EVP and the attributes or the unique selling points of your employer brand will probably be changing too. So it's really important that all of these things line up. so that when you start communicating your employer brand across the talent life cycle, so right from attraction, selection, onboarding, and all the way through the colleague life cycle, it's really important that the right messages are going across to the right people. It's also important that your content that you're sharing right now really shows who you are and what you stand for as a business. If it does, then you'll be able to reach the right people and push the right message to them, and not just the people who are actively looking, because they'll be coming to you anyway. The other thing that we've seen at the moment is a big growth in organisations looking at their careers site to make sure that they're engaging the right people, and also bringing more information into those careers sites about the right fit candidates, the values and the purpose of their organisation, so that they can really ensure that it's used not just to attract people, but to engage and get the right people to apply. So also involving more content will help to show your personality, but then also we're seeing a real focus on those challenging niche roles. So things like chatbots to communicate with candidates, to encourage them to come through the application process, or to answer any quick questions that you can. So whilst your career site is your virtual shop window for candidates, it's also critical that your candidate journey is seamless. Because once you get the right people into the site, you need to keep them, and you need to keep them warm right through the selection and onboarding process. I think at the moment as well, we're seeing that a lot of organisations are being challenged on return on investment. So budgets are likely to have reduced right now, and there'll be more scrutiny on how you're spending your money. So it's becoming more and more important to measure every aspect of your employer brand and of your attraction activity as well. We've just launched a number of new tools to help us to do this, because we know that's what's needed in the market. As we're moving forward, the future is all about efficiency, quality, and also differentiation. So that's where we're investing our research and development time, and we believe that's an area for you to think about too. Now, by way of introducing DWP Digital, I want to also finish on one last message, and that's that your messaging needs to be purpose-led, and it also needs to tell your story. So people are increasingly buying into purpose-led employers. So a good thing to do at the moment is think about your purpose and what you're here to do. So I'm now going to hand you over to Laura from DWP Digital.
Hi, I'm Laura Graham. I'm Digital Marketing Manager at DWP Digital. We're the digital group of the UK's largest government department. We work at massive scale. Our customer base is huge, and nearly everyone in the UK will be touched by us at some point in their lifetime. The opportunities for tech professionals to work on large-scale problems that really help everyone in society are enormous with us. And due to the digital transformation that we're going through, we've had quite challenging recruitment targets. And we knew our employer brand was good, but we felt that it could be a bit better to really meet those targets. The marketplace for digital talent is really competitive, and there's a shortage for tech talent in the UK. This has only got worse in lockdown, and a stat came out this week that there's an increase of 36% in demand, according to Computer Weekly. Our detailed insight showed that there was an out-of-date perception of what it was like to work in government IT, which was putting some people off. We also had audience analysis that showed there was a real hunger in tech professionals to solve chunky problems, which is in fact exactly what we've got to offer. So we needed to make sure we're getting our message across in a new way. Research showed that the different audience segments valued different elements of our proposition, such as working at scale or flexible working, but a really strong umbrella proposition for us, which has wide appeal across the whole audience, is to work with impact. As I mentioned, we're touching people's lives at every stage of their working life and retirement. And this is where the creative magic happened. We were able to crystallise our key proposition into just 3 words, and these really beautifully matched our brand name. So DWP became Digital with Purpose. This opened up a copy-led approach, which we can flex to suit any audience or message while still retaining the brand integrity. And as the slide says, the delightful wordplay allows us to disrupt the perception of government as boring without being saying try too hard or be too trendy. We can be witty and playful, such as dabbler, wizard performer, or we can be more serious and inspirational, such as driven with potential. It's not just words though, the new brand puts people at the centre. Our marketing and content strategy is founded on advocacy, and our approach is to be authentic and human. We use a lot of case studies in all our work, and we have a lot of speakers going out. So we developed the photography style that shows exactly who we'll be working with, and it's perhaps not who you might expect. You won't see men in suits too often. Hopefully it's diverse and people look interesting and like the sort of workmates you might want to be around. The brand works really well across all the channels. We launched in February, not too long before lockdown. We had an advertising campaign, and the really killer stat from the campaign is that engagement with our display ads went up 384%, showing just how powerful the brand is and how big a difference it's made to our engagement with that key audience. Feedback from staff has been really strong at all levels of the organisation, from the people working on the ground who helped us develop the brand to senior leaders. The best feedback we've received though, our favourite, is feedback from people who've joined since February. Many of them said that the brand and the content have been a key deciding factor in joining us. We've rolled out the brand across marketing channels now, and now we're looking at taking it across the whole candidate and employee life cycle. So it's not just an investment in attraction, but it's working across the whole retention journey as well. And that's it from me.
Oh, thanks so much for that, Laura, and thanks again for everyone joining the session today. I think when building employer brands, a key component is really bringing the story to life so that we can share it with external audiences, key target candidates, and all the people that we really need to get the story out to. So today, I'm going to be taking you through how we've been bringing the Lego Group story to life. Now, the Lego Group has a really interesting challenge. I'm pretty sure most of you listening today will have either played with it or even have it in your house right now. I've just finished building one of the Star Wars TIE fighters. I'm not allowed to have it out though, as my wife says. But you know, ultimately, as a brand, it's loved and recognized throughout a lot of the world, right? As a product, the bricks are an essential part of play, and it's loved by children, but also adults as well. But really interestingly, as an employer, the Lego Group's actually a bit of a mystery. When looking at our content strategy, we spoke with talent leads across the regions to uncover what the attraction challenges were. And actually a number of really interesting insights emerged, which helped define what we needed to address and the stories that we needed to create. And whilst the brand is pretty huge across the world, there's a real lack of awareness in terms of the scale, the reach, and the opportunities or global opportunities that the Lego Group actually had. Another big challenge was that actually they weren't an employer of choice in key demand and growth areas like digital, design, creative engineering. So it's actually really hard for them to attract the right kind of talent into those roles who get what they're coming in to do. Obviously, when we're talking about digital, as Laura will have just mentioned there, there's a really high competition for talent. So Lego really needed to look at how they were going to start to become an employer of choice in those areas. And we also had locational challenges as well. The head office in Billund, I've been there. It is stunning, but it's also 2 hours away from the nearest city. So it's quite difficult for them to be able to convince people to come and potentially relocate. I think the final point actually was, whilst they are really big in terms of their consumer side, they've had quite a limited amount of employer brand marketing activity. So all of these really interesting stories just weren't known. So alongside this sat the Lego Group's key employer brand pillars. Now, these are a fundamental part of who they are. So when we were looking at our content strategy and how to bring it to life, it was fundamental to us that our content addressed not only the challenges that the team face, but also we had to link back to these, because ultimately, if content's not relevant, it's not doing the job we needed it to do. From this, our content strategy behind the bricks was born. Ultimately, with the right content and storytelling, we were going to be able to help the Lego group start addressing these core challenges. And what we saw was, by inviting people inside or behind the bricks and showing the Lego group as a business rather than a fun factory, obviously still keeping the fun because that's a big part of their culture, we'd be able to equip the Lego group and recruiters around the world to say the right things and really start engaging with candidates from an employer brand perspective. So I'm going to take you through some of the stuff that we've been doing recently and how we've been bringing these stories to life. Now, COVID's been an interesting one, hasn't it? We certainly thought in Feb and March, there was going to be a big impact, what was going to be happening with plans where people were going to be putting things on pause. But actually, we didn't let that stop us with our work with the Lego group. We knew that the strategy was still really important to implement. So we found a way of being able to engage ambassadors across the globe, actually using Lego's internal tech. So what we did was create this network, but then create brief impacts, run interviews, and collate really interesting insights to be able to bring these people together. So here, what was really important for us is that we gave our fabulous colleagues in the Lego group a voice. So in videos, blogs, in different languages, telling different things about the business, the culture, the area that they're working in, to really give a window, helped us start to show the people behind the bricks and the really interesting stories that came with them. Now, this was a pretty simple thing, but it was one of my favorite things of the content that we're producing, is that we've actually developed a unique set of avatars for recruiters to be able to use to communicate different types of role. Now, these little people are helping our recruiters all around the world introduce their opportunities with color and personality. My favorite one is actually the Indiana Jones there, because I'm a bit of an explorer myself. So that one really resonated with me. And we're trying to highlight the key skills and personalities that do well in certain role areas. Another thing we did was to capture the Lego group's playful spirit on film. Rather than tell you about this, we've got the video here. So I'm just going to hit play for a minute to show you what we created and how it brings to life their culture of play.
Here we go, here we go.
It's okay to be silly. Grown-ups grow up. Never.
A really interesting insight for us with recruiters is they had quite a lot of limited materials to be able to engage with candidates once they'd applied and started the assessment process. So what we created for them was a candidate pack, an interactive online pack that takes candidates of all levels, all the way from graduates to exec hires, through what the Lego group is as a business. So, their timeline, their history, how important their values are to them, how important sustainability is. And the recruitment team and hiring managers have been finding this as a really useful tool to help give them something to say and know what to say to candidates. And what we did here, now this is our Did You Know series that is currently going out on LinkedIn at the minute. Really interestingly, when we were talking with the business and getting to know everybody, we kept getting these really cool facts that we kept saying, I had no idea the Lego group did that. That's really interesting. And this sparked an idea of, well, who else doesn't know that? So quite a simple thing, but we've been creating mini GIFs and animations to show these cool little things that the Lego group does as a business. what it's not known for, but also how it engages with employees, to bring these to life. So it was really cool, actually. We did a campaign on Yammer, and we got people from around the world to be able to feed in their little insights and facts. And, you know, it's like, tell us what we don't know. And there was some amazing stuff that came out of it. So, for example, they actually have design and marketing academies for all their colleagues in that area to help them with their profession. And actually, when we posted about the marketing academy, we had people from the army and other businesses actually engaging with the talent team to know more about what they were doing in the space, because actually when people got to know about it, they got really interested in it, and it started to generate a lot of conversations. Next, we started introducing some of our key offices. So the Lego Group have 5 key hubs across the globe. But if you're not there, you don't know what the culture's like or what's in there. So we created infographics to be hosted on the career site and be promoted out via social media, so that people could get a really good understanding of what was there, get some useful hints and tips, but also what kind of facilities and amenities that they had. So it's really useful for candidates, but also people coming and joining the office alike. And finally, we're working with local teams in Shanghai at the minute, actually, to film GoPro or Lego Pro videos, as we've called them, to film offices, to give candidates a window into what the offices is like. And we've actually just finished the Shanghai edit now, so you'll expect to see this on social media probably in the next few weeks or so. But it's a really cool video where we take people through, you know, what the office looks like, what the teams do there, what the atmosphere looks like. And again, it's just to really help communicate the culture and, you know, what the space is like. So it's been a really exciting few months when we've been bringing all this together, and some of the first bits have started to filter out on social media, but we're gearing up to launch all of this content via a series of organic and paid amplification. We've got our strategy in place, so I'm really looking forward, and so are my counterparts at Lego, to be sharing that with you all soon.
Thank you, Marcus and Laura. It's been great to see those 2 case studies from DWP Digital and from the Lego Group. So hopefully you've all seen some of our work there, and ultimately what we're really happy about it is that it's work that has worked very successfully for our clients. So thank you for joining us.